Stickmen all look the same, but imagine if you had to use letters to make them instead. Well, you certainly wouldn't want to use the letter U, which might be the worst possible body shape you could give a stickman. Your head sits right in that dip at the bottom, which seems harmless until the weather changes. The moment it rains, that curved shape starts collecting water like a bowl. You're essentially walking around with a rain gutter attached to your shoulders. Stand outside long enough and you'll slowly fill up like a bucket. So having this body shape would quite literally drown you by just standing outside. But even if the weather behaves, people will still see that hollow space and assume it's meant to hold things. You know, like loose change, snacks, empty cups, maybe a banana peel. Speaking of, I've got this paper ball and I'm done using it, so I'm going to go for the 3-pointer here. Alley-oop. Okay, just missed, but you see what I was going for. Anyway, before long, you're going to feel like less of a person and more of a public bin with legs. Number 9. PP. Just a really odd choice of body. Like, the balance situation is terrible. Actually, that kind of sounds like it could be a Moist Critical video title. The stickman situation is crazy. Wait, what was I talking about again? Oh yeah, all the weight. It sits near the top because of that big round section, which means that every step feels like you're carrying a watermelon on your back. And just to make matters worse, your legs come out of that really narrow base, and with your high center of gravity, they're constantly trying to keep everything upright while the whole upper half swings around. So now even just walking becomes this Herculean task that involves careful negotiation with gravity. If you lean forward too much, you're going to tip over, lean back, and you're also a goner. Turning corners feels like steering a shopping trolley with a broken wheel. So yeah, you'll spend most of your days concentrating on not falling over. Number 8. M. Moving on to a letter with a whole new set of problems. M gives you plenty of width, which, sounds alright, got a bit of girth, good on you. But it all fades when you try to move, well, anywhere. Even walking down the street turns into a slow side-to-side shuffle because your body is twice as wide as everyone else's. I'm telling you, this world wasn't made for a giant. On top of all of that, from a distance, you look like a giant letter from a certain fast food restaurant. People keep waving at you and taking photos and asking where the nearest restaurant is. I mean, you can tell them 400 times that you don't work for McDonald's, but they'll just forget 10 minutes later. So yeah, sorry to disappoint you, buddy, but you're not a person now. You're a promotional event wandering through town. Number 7. L. L has a very specific problem. The moment people see your shape, they realize you look exactly like a seat. That means every time you stop moving, someone is tempted to sit down on you. Things like waiting at a bus stop become a nightmare because strangers assume you're public furniture. Like, hey, I probably wouldn't mind, if they asked me politely, but when it's someone who hasn't showered for a week, I draw the line. But even worse than that, because of your elongated flat back, if you fall over, you're stuck lying flat there with the right angle shape pointing upward. Getting back up is not elegant. In fact, it's a bit embarrassing to watch. You look like a flipped tortoise waving its arms until someone helps it. Number 6. T. T gives you height and presence, which is great, but the shoulder situation quickly becomes an issue. You see, the top bar stretches so far to the other side that your arms are effectively too short to reach your own mouth, which makes eating now this complicated process involving leaning forwards, tilting your head, and hoping the food eventually lands somewhere useful. Drinking from a cup is an even bigger challenge, but hey, you might end up inventing new methods of feeding just to survive. Being tall is usually a benefit, but in this case, it comes with a strange dietary obstacle. Number 5. X. X turns you into a very unusual silhouette. Your legs stick out beneath the crossing lines, which makes it look like you're wearing some kind of rigid skirt made of metal beams. Which, hey, if you're into that kind of dress sense, who am I to judge over here with my $10 jeans? No, the real problem sits higher up. See, look at where your head is. It's right in the center where the lines cross, which creates a sort of trough around your face. That trough blocks your side view almost completely. You can see straight ahead just fine, but anything happening to the left or right might as well be in another dimension. So, a word of warning for this one, because of your impaired peripheral vision, crossing the street is now suddenly a massive gamble. Number 4. B. B is definitely the closest to a certain type of body design that we've all seen before. So notice it gives you 2 large rounded sections stacked on top of each other. Yeah, the result looks like less of a person and more of a snowman who took a wrong turn into the alphabet. Your limbs stick out around these 2 huge bulges and makes movement slightly clumsy. Turning sideways requires a bit of planning because those curves like to bump into things. And people might also assume you're just a bloke permanently wearing a padded winter coat. The downside of being a snowman, though, is that you can't enjoy the warmth of the summer sun, and with all that lovely weather right around the corner, I just can't bring myself to put this any higher in the list. Number 3. O. On the subject of realistic-looking body shapes, O is basically the stickman equivalent of being a big round guy. Your body becomes a circle with limbs poking out around the edges. Walking does work, but it feels very inefficient because your legs are attached to something that clearly prefers rolling, and people might make fun of you for being that slow and immobile. But what if you start experimenting with that idea? You know, not using your legs at all could be revolutionary. So you find a gentle slope, tuck your arms in, and suddenly you're traveling much faster than anyone expected. Just goes to show, never judge a book by its cover. I mean, getting back on your feet afterwards might take a bit of practice, but at least the option exists. Number 2. A. Yeah, I swear I've seen this body type before. Where was it? Oh yeah, of course. It was on the side of the road, as this is obviously a traffic cone with arms and legs. The wide base gives you great stability, while the narrow top keeps your head balanced nicely above everything else. The A shape also leaves a little window in the middle where your stomach sits, which, when you think about it, most stickman bodies don't have. They're just a line. Although in this case, everyone can see straight through it, which means that your lunch choices are immediately public information. So if you are on your third Big Mac this week, people are going to know and they will be judging. Still, from a practical standpoint, it works surprisingly well. You stand firmly, move easily, and rarely lose your balance. And added bonus, you're also visible to oncoming traffic. Always good to know. Number 1. I is the clear winner because it keeps everything simple and effective. Your body becomes a straight vertical line, which means your head sits comfortably above your shoulders and your legs extend naturally below. You look tall, which people tend to interpret as confident and impressive. You've got some wide, but not too wide, shoulders, and the proportions make walking easy, standing comfortable, and everyday life fairly normal. Out of all of the alphabet options, this is the one that lets you pass for an actual person instead of a walking punctuation mark.